Hey guys, this is Jake with Casino Bonus Gaming. Making a video today for you guys, going over a session that I played about 4 or 5 days ago on Bovada Poker, which is one of the few US available poker sites. The game I was playing was 1020 limit Omaha 8 or better, which surprisingly Bovada has a lot of limit Omaha 8 action, PLO 8 or better. Really a lot. I'm actually pretty impressed with the action on the site. I played on Bovada about a year ago, and there wasn't a whole lot going because I think that was just when they just switched to the anonymous gameplay, where as you can see, everyone's just labeled player 1, player 2. There's no screen names. I think that's an attempt from the site to kind of keep the sharks out. So there's no tracking software. No note taking. Well, there's note taking for the session. It'll save it for as long as you're playing at the table, but as soon as that player leaves, you'll never get the note back. And so and it has no rake back too. So it kind of stinks if you like to take notes and like to track your opponents, but it keeps the action really fishy, and the games really are great. I gotta tell you, as you'll see in this video. There's just a lot of 3, 4, 5 ways to the flop. Very rarely do you find a tight table, people playing snug. Usually it's a lot of loose action. So I'm just going to go through this video and hopefully find some good spots that we can go over. So here we go. We'll start it. Let's see if we can find some good spots. This is my first video I've made, so kind of bear with me if I'm a little sluggish on this. Let's see if we get through here. Okay. So again, the game is a limit Omaha 8. So obviously any aces. I'm looking for anything that has good pre-flop equity, because a lot of the time in this game you're gonna be going to the river because it's only 1 or 2 bets to see down the street. Now, as I said before, here we go. We got a 4-bet pot pre already. Obviously, we're gonna see a flop with our suited aces. So here, I'm not gonna be wanting to lead out so much. I'm not getting anything better to fold for a bet. Obviously, I've got a lot of equity. I've got backdoor nut hearts. I've got the gutter, obviously. An ace might be good. Jack's possibly good. So definitely gonna be hard for them to get me off of this before the river, I would assume. Maybe if the turn is like a, I don't know, a 9 of diamond, or I guess any diamond, but so I'm definitely going to the turn. Again, we got everyone going to the turn. So yeah, this is one of the worst turns. I do have the ace of diamonds, and so one might think that you could try to maybe blow someone off with the naked ace bluff, but not in this game, because if someone has any flush, they're just gonna call you down, because they're getting. I mean, at this point you're getting 15 to 1, so you don't got to be correct very often to break even pot odds wise. So we got, let's see, the nut low. This guy's got a set. So I mean, you just kind of see that that's not a bad hand, but you can just kind of see the hands that people are playing in this game. The action is very, very good. So as we're kind of trying to find hands here, I'll kind of go over some basics. A lot of where your edge is coming from in this game is just pre-flop hand selection. Because you are going to the river so much, you want hands that you can flop the nuts with. You don't want to get tight like here. I'd imagine I'm going to be seeing this turn, yep, or this flop, I mean. So I'll kind of pause it so I can talk before we go over this hand. You don't, since there is so many 2, 3, 4 player pots, you don't want to be that guy that's playing the mediocre, your ace, a lot of ace 5s, you know, calling down where you have the 4th best low, calling down with the bottom 2 pair, when, you know, you don't want to be that guy that's getting where people are just chopping your pot. You want to be drawn to the nuts a lot. You want to be drawn to the nut lows. This game is a large portion, I can't remember the exact percent, but a large portion of hands do have a low, so they are going to have the pot split. You're going to want to have a two-way hand. You don't want to be calling down with that middle pair. There's 3 or 4 bets, hoping that they're all going for the low. You know, even though it is shorthanded, you do want to be nut pedaling and really playing solid two-way hands to the flop. So here I flop the nuts, and we'll see. So I'm obviously going to raise here. I'm the favorite against basically anything. I do have an emergency low as well. A 7 is a good turn. I'm not too scared of them boating up. A lot of times they're just going to be drawing to the low because there's no, obviously you need 3 cards, 8 or lower to qualify for a low. So a lot of times they're going to be drawn for the low. None of the straights got there, your 8-10s, your Jack-10s, and so this is an easy continuation bet. No reason to be scared of the queen. Again, I'm sure I'm going to be called by any 7. Any maybe even a 9, of course, pocket 10s, pocket aces, so easy hand to play there. This should be nothing. Another thing to be kind of conscious of is that you don't want to be playing. I know when you're in the big blind and it's just another half bet to get to the flop. For instance, with a hand like this, if I was in the big blind and it was a raised pot, here I'll probably, no, I'm not going to play that. For instance, like this flop, I'm playing this hand. That is a very marginal flop for my hand. I'm having to give up on so many turns. Any spade, any 6, a lot of lows. Now all of a sudden I'm just trying to get half a pot. I'm just hoping that my king jack is good. You don't want to be stuck in this pot. Playing marginal hands is very hard, even though it is a limit game. So that guy, let's see. Yeah, so obviously I wouldn't have got any of it here, even though I do have that 2 pair. So even if you are in the big blind, what I little mantra I usually go by is kind of defend your button, not so much your blinds. You don't want to be trapped into playing a marginal hand from the big blind just because it is another half bet. So let's see if we can find another good spot here. Let's see. You will definitely have your streaks where you are seemingly blinding down in this game, because you will go through streaks where you do not get something playable for quite a while. Let's see here. This, even though it's on the button and limp pot, I don't imagine I would play something like this. Yeah. Another very marginal hand. Let's see here. That's pretty standard, just kind of completing from the small blind. Would have to crush a flop pretty good to continue with this one. This is kind of another spot, going over what I just kind of said, is that you know, your queens could very well be good here, but there is very few turn cards outside of a queen where you're going to want to continue with this. Even if the turn was like a deuce, and I guess even that completes a straight, but virtually any low card completes a straight, and at that point you're just hoping that you get half in a multi-way pot out of position. Even if you do hit a queen, you imagine they still have a lot of outs, so this is just a pretty easy fold. Oh, there's the deuce. No, not playable, not playable. Okay, here we go. Okay, so any ace deuce is obviously a top whatever 2 or 3% hand coming in for a raise. Hope to get a lot of action. And it is Bovada, so we do get plenty of action. All right, so with these, even though there is 5 players to the pot, I know I'm going to be an equity favorite. I'm sure I have more than 20% here, which is all I need to properly put more money in the pot. It seems like a flop where it would connect with a lot of hands that people are playing, but since it is high-low, you expect a lot of people to have your ace 3-4s, ace deuce, you know, people play on low cards quite a bit, so this flop isn't quite as scary as it would be if, say, you were playing pot limit high only, where you would expect someone to crush this flop pretty good. So if check to me, I'd imagine that I'm betting here, which I do. Get a snap call here, which doesn't really narrow his range down, because even people go for their runner lows all the time. Okay, so obviously that's a great turn for us. I'm betting again. Fold. I'm guessing player 2 probably has a king, maybe a lesser jack. Definitely betting again. Now, the thing with betting the river, you're getting called because, see right there, I bet 20 into a $180 pot. He's getting 9-1. He has to be right 1 in 9 times to call that profitably. And in his mind, I just have to bluff that 1 out of 9 to be a profitable bluff. So I've had to successfully bluff that with a river bet to show a profit on that river. So they are I mean, this works for you too. If someone's betting the river, it is so hard to fold a river. If you've got even pocket 10s on this board, any king obviously, pocket queens. I mean, you could even make a case for calling with pocket 8s or even a 7. Folding the best hand on the river, getting that good of odds, is such a huge mistake that you virtually have to think that there is no chance of you winning that pot for you to fold a river. So, I mean, since I recorded this earlier, I can't go back and look what he had, but I would imagine that he's calling with a pair of 7s or better there. And so, I mean, even if I had ace king on this board, I'm definitely value betting the river. Maybe king queen, maybe even king 10. I mean, you're getting called by so loosely, or you should be at least, that you can value bet very thin. So something to keep in mind. See if we can find one more hand here before we close up. I'm not playing that. Okay, here we go. This is tricky. We do have aces, but it is a very poor aces. At least I do have a low card. I chose the 3-bet here because any aces should be good. This flop, I mean, there's just virtually no good card in the deck. If I had a low draw, I would be continuing at this for sure. But against 1 bet, I mean, there's just no good card for me there. Get another one. These hands are pretty deceptive. I've been asked about these quite a few times by people trying to learn to play this game. The problem with these hands is that you think like, oh, you know, I can hit a flop pretty good. If this is PLO, I don't mind seeing this hand in any scenario really. Because your pre-flop equity is so good. The problem with this is when you do hit a high hand with this, you flop a straight or hit 2 pair or something like that, someone undoubtedly is playing a low hand. And so at best you're playing for half the pot. And your low draw is terrible. I mean, 2, 3, 4 is your only hope. I mean, if you're playing your low with that hand, you likely have the 12th, 13th, 14th bets low, which is, you know, not worth seeing a river at that point. So as good as those hands might look, I would definitely stay away from those. Let's see. Well, it's actually hitting the 15-minute mark, so that's all the time we got. If you are a US player, excuse me, and you are looking to play online, I mean, there is Carbon and I think America's Only Card Room. I think that's what it's called. But in my opinion, Bovada is the best the best US is available at this point. The action's real good, tournaments are good, great cash game action, great sit and go action. So as long as you can handle the anonymous tables thing, you should enjoy it. So great. Yeah, again, this is Jake with Casino Bonus Gaming, and I hope you guys